Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Folks, there's a looming showdown, a major showdown that is emerging over the fate of unemployment benefits across our country. Now, I have to tell you, some of the news that I end up reporting is actually pretty tough to report, but this is one of the toughest things that I've reported lately. Well, as everyone knows, there's a booster to the unemployment benefits thanks to the American Rescue Plan, thanks to all the previous stimulus plans in 2020. But at some point, the booster and the extension to unemployment benefits, the money coming from the federal government to the states that then comes to you, at some point, the money from the federal government will stop. In other words, it'll be up to the states to pay out unemployment benefits. Well, guess what? Republicans in some states are trying to reduce the number of weeks of state unemployment benefits once the pandemic is over, or reduce the amount of weekly benefits once the pandemic is over. They want to be able to shore up, they want to be able to strengthen and reinforce the state unemployment slush fund, which is basically a fund into which money goes, from employers and from all the other sources. And then that money comes out from that fund to pay out unemployment. A lot of these funds are depleted, which is why Republicans in some states across the country are trying to reduce unemployments after the pandemic is over, and Democrats are fighting them tooth and nail about this. Here's a new headline on your screen from the Huffington Post: the looming showdown over unemployment benefits. Federal benefits are going to expire, and Republican lawmakers are looking to make cuts to these benefits as soon as they get the opportunity. So what's been happening so far in this year, 2021, Republicans in states like Tennessee, Iowa, and Louisiana, once again, Tennessee, Iowa, and Louisiana have proposed cuts to cut down how many weeks of jobless benefits unemployed Americans will receive. And these proposed cuts, according to them, are necessary to shore up the unemployment trust funds. And this could result in new problems as far as individuals depending on unemployment benefits are concerned. Now, Democrats in Congress have two options. They can extend the federal programs beyond the end that has been mandated by the American Rescue Plan, or they can essentially try and create a much broader overhaul of the unemployment benefit system in states across the country. And folks, that is the only long-term solution. In fact, the long-term solution is automatic stabilizers. If unemployment goes up in a state, then benefits go up in a state. If unemployment goes down in a state, then the unemployment benefits come down. And this is an economic solution. This is a financial solution. And this completely eliminates politics out of the equation, because then you don't have to be concerned about who leads the House, who leads the Senate, who the president is, what everyone's agendas are, what kind of PR strategies, how they're trying to play off us against each other. All of that gets eliminated. This just comes down to economics and numbers. But the Democrats are essentially fighting for this. Here's a comment from Senate Finance Committee Chair Ron Wyden, who's a Democrat from Oregon. He actually introduced legislation, and I'll be doing another video about this. He has actually introduced legislation that will reform the unemployment benefit system, but it's not clear whether Democrats are actually going to prioritize this proposal. He said, this year-long economic crisis has underscored the urgent need to reform the unemployment insurance system so it supports workers, particularly workers of color, and meets the needs of the 21st century. Now, folks, after the Great Recession in 2008, there was some extension of benefits, not to the extent that we see now. But as soon as that essential federal effort ran out, Florida reduced the duration of its unemployment benefits from 26 weeks to 12 weeks when the state's unemployment rate is low. Well, more and more states want to do that as soon as things get back to normal in those states. Now, Congress has actually tried to stop this in the past. The CARES Act, for example, included last year when the $600 a week booster was implemented in 2020. It included what's called as a non-reduction rule, which means that states were not allowed, they were forbidden from cutting weekly payments or reducing the number of weeks of unemployment benefits as long as the state participated in the federal program that provided the $600 per week. Currently, that booster is $300 per week. So basically, the federal government was saying to states, hey, if you're going to take money from us, you cannot reduce the state unemployment benefits, the amount, neither can you reduce the duration of your benefits. But guess what? Once all of that stuff runs out, states can now do whatever they want, and state lawmakers, some Republican lawmakers are trying to cut back both the duration of benefits and the amount of benefits. Now, here's the problem, folks. This isn't really a problem from the Republican side or the Democrat side. This is an economic problem. The unemployment trust funds are funded by payroll taxes. Now think about this. If less individuals are employed, that means less payroll taxes are paid. And if less payroll taxes are paid, that means the unemployment benefit trust funds that states have, which is actually these funds are set aside to pay unemployment benefits, are depleted. And this problem, ironically, is happening to a larger extent in many, many Republican states and red states. In Tennessee, for example, Republican lawmakers have proposed cutting the number of weeks of jobless benefits from 26 weeks to 12 weeks. And Tennessee already has one of the smallest unemployment benefit programs in the country because individuals get on average $275 a week. Here's a quote from Tennessee Congressman Kevin Warhan. He said, "If we want to grow the trust fund, there's only so many levers we can pull." And he actually spoke with his local newspaper, the Tennessean, and you'll see that article on your screen. He said one of the options we have is to shorten the period of benefits. Again, you'll see the headline on your screen from the Tennessean, where the congressman was talking about the challenges that they face. In Louisiana, Republican senators from the state of Louisiana have proposed cutting down the duration of unemployment benefits in Louisiana from 26 weeks to 12 weeks. Now, one state that's extremely interesting is the state of Kentucky. Do you know the senator from the state of Kentucky? Well, it's a Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. He said this about the red state versus the blue state bailout because the money for states in the American Rescue Plan was one of the most heavily criticized aspects of the plan, at least from the Republican side. However, what's really interesting is that Kentucky used money from the federal government to fill up its state unemployment systems. Yup, it's a fact. That's why you come to the Ignition Time channel. Let's first hear what the Senate Minority Leader said. He said they want to send wheelbarrows of cash to state and local bureaucrats to bail out mismanagement from before the pandemic. They are changing the previous bipartisan funding formula in ways that will especially bias the money towards big blue states. So what actually ended up happening in Mitch McConnell's home state of Kentucky, the Republican lawmakers approved using $575 million from the American Rescue Plan to shore up the state's unemployment trust fund, which the state's Chamber of Commerce actually celebrated because it saves businesses from large tax increases due to the drained unemployment insurance trust fund. So basically, I just want to be clear. The state Chamber of Commerce in the state of Kentucky said, hey, we use this money to shore up the trust fund so that we don't have to raise payroll taxes on employers in the state of Kentucky. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. That is politics at work. In fact, here's a news release from the Kentucky Chamber. Lawmakers add crucial funds to unemployment trust fund on the final day of the 2021 session. So Kentucky is happy that they were able to allocate $575 million from the federal government, which, by the way, is taxpayer money. When you pay federal income taxes, when I pay federal income taxes, that money gets rerouted. And, this is one example of our money getting rerouted. They use this to shore up their unemployment trust funds. I'm not saying there's something wrong with that. What I am saying is that, on the one hand, Mitch McConnell criticizes bailouts, and then on the other hand, his state uses those funds to shore up their unemployment trust fund. So, that's politics at work, folks. So folks, that is a looming problem with unemployment benefits, and that is the crisis that we are facing. States are running out of money, red states and blue states, but Republican lawmakers are taking specific action to try and cut down unemployment benefits, and they are in a looming showdown with the Democrats. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.